Minister of State for Home, Ajay Mishra Teni, father of prime accused in the Lakhimpur case, shows brazen arrogance and misbehaves with journalists, abuses them at an oxygen plant inauguration event.
मंत्री जी, आपके बेटे पर जो और धाराएं लग गई हैं उस पर क्या
जो काम है उस काम के बारे में बात करो जी। धाराओं के बारे में
नहीं जो एसआईटी नहीं जानती
ऐसा है बेटी के सवाल मत करा करो। दिमाग खराब है क्या है चलो चीजें बात कर देख ले। अरे खबर बंद कर दे। ऐसे हमारे मीडिया वाले हैं ना, एक निर्दोष आदमी के लिए बनाया, शर्म नहीं आती है।
क्या करना है क्या नहीं करना है, क्या कर बढ़िया। चौकी पर चले जाइए सामने।
Meenakshi Bhanja joining us with more. Meenakshi, this is utterly shameful. You have the minister brazening it out and how abusing journalists for asking him just the question that he's supposed to answer. His son is the prime accused in the Lakhimpur incident, which the court has said is no accident. It's deliberate murder, according to the SIT probe.
Well, absolutely, Afrida. This is very, very damaging. And also, let's, put some facts in perspective for our viewers. Why all this is happening? It is at the behest and the intervention of the Supreme Court of India. It is the Supreme Court which set up this SIT. It's the Supreme Court which chose a judge outside the state of Uttar Pradesh to head the SIT and its probe on a day-to-day basis. So, in these backdrops and circumstances, for a journalist to simply ask a factual question, and this is an issue, Afrida, mind you, today also we have seen a lot of movement on it in the parliament, outside the parliament, with opposition parties led by Rahul Gandhi and others, and we have seen a sort of a damage control mode that the government has also tried to swing into as far as this issue is concerned, because it was the leader of the House and Rajya Sabha, Mr. Piyush Goyal, who took the refuge of this issue being sub judice to deny a discussion as was being sought for by the opposition parties in the floor of the House. So in the backdrop of this issue being of such import, politically speaking, just ahead of Uttar Pradesh Assembly polls 2022, for the minister to then go ahead and rough up or try to rough up a journalist for simply asking a fact-based question is something which really has a larger implication, Afrida. Like you rightly mentioned, it is completely embarrassing for the central government and also the BJP vis-a-vis a larger perspective issue that is concerned. And like you rightly mentioned, there is absolutely no flaw in asking a question to an incumbent minister, which is a fact-based question, and for him to completely lose it and try to rough up the journalist in this way is utterly, unbecoming of the post that he holds. It causes embarrassment to the party, and not just that.
Accusing him and all of that we have beeped out, Meenakshi, as you would have heard, because there are unspeakables that were mouthed by the minister. And this is the attitude, Meenakshi, the fact that the minister has only exposed the political arrogance, precisely what the SIT has also pointed out, that this was deliberate, it was done to hurt the protesting farmers, to teach them a lesson. The vehicle just ran over them, even though the minister himself on multiple occasions dodged those questions. Now, do you think it is because of this judgment that the minister has lost it in this manner?
Well, Afrida, there is certainly a lot happening which perhaps is not in the public domain. Obviously, there is a sense of pressure that he is feeling. The SIT report, like you rightly mentioned, is completely and utterly damaging. The SIT has swung into action at no less than the apex court of this country's intervention. And in that backdrop, for the minister to utterly and completely lose it in this manner with a field journalist, it is unspeakable. It really goes on to reflect the utter lack of control that he is not just feeling within himself, but he is unable to exercise any control in his outward appearance / behavior as well. And that is why this assumes a lot of import, because here we are talking about how his action has a larger implication, how the ruling party has been all active trying to damage control this issue in the parliament and outside the parliament, how the opposition we have showcased throughout the day, led by Mr. Rahul Gandhi, has wanted to have a discussion on this topic. And it was Piyush Goyal, he is the leader of the House in Rajya Sabha, who said this matter is sub judice and therefore a discussion at this point in time cannot be entered into. But then outside of the House, in a disparate location, here is the minister who is being asked a simple fact-based question, and for him to lose it in this manner and attempt to rough up a journalist for simply attempting to do their job is something which is utterly and completely damaging.
Yes, this is crossing all lines of decency and dignity and decorum, so to speak. He could have politely declined. Simply not acceptable for a journalist to be abused in this manner. Thank you for joining us, Meenakshi. Lakhimpur violence case has, like Meenakshi was mentioning, rocked Parliament as well. Both houses saw continued disruptions, slow